Well, hello everybody, this is Argent and welcome to the first ever commentary track. You're here to watch me torture myself. This movie was really bad. I mean, when I saw this movie, I'm not going to read the opening crawl. You can just read it. I'll just comment on it. I'm not that good at reading things out loud. I'm better just kind of talking off the side on top of my head. But yeah, when I saw this movie in theaters, like I knew it was going to be shit beforehand. The moment I knew this was going to be a bad movie was in the trailer where it like shows Ooga Booga as like a big, like just his sweaty face, like a close up of it. Like this movie's going to be shit, and it was shit. This movie was really bad. Yeah, okay. I'll talk about the First Order once we get past this. So let's see. So this is, I think you have to understand, like I know a bit more about this because I've looked up extra canonical sources, but I didn't really care about the new quote unquote canon, and I still don't really care about the new quote unquote canon. Although the book Thrawn is excellent, but yeah, like watching this movie for the first time, I was just like, what the fuck? What is the First Order? What is the Rebellion? The New Republic isn't even mentioned in the intro. Okay, now the last bit of that, I'll get to the First Order and the Resistance in a minute, but it says there is a old ally who's discovered a clue to Luke's whereabouts. And the old ally is not a character we've ever seen before. So I was really confused because you think old ally would be like Lando, well, Obi-Wan's dead, but just like a character from a previous movie, but it isn't. It's just some random dude who we've never seen before. But he's an old ally. So, yeah, here's Jakku, which is not Tatooine, because we have to rely on copying the original movies for everything. This is kind of like a shitty copy of the original scene. It really reminds me of that scene in Spaceballs, you know, where it pans along the side of the spaceship for a long time. This looks nowhere near as cool as the old Star Destroyers do. But yeah, the First Order always bothered me, because, I mean, it's the First Order. So, for those of you who are English speakers, First Order means first. Uno, one, the original. But the First Order is a successor to the New Order, because Palpatine's government was known as the New Order. And the Empire was a one-party state, and the one political party was called the Commission for the Preservation of the New Order. So, we're expected to believe that the First Order is the successor to the New Order, which would make it the Second Order. So, yeah, like, who the fuck is this guy? He's some vaguely recognizable British actor. Hey, it's that ethnically ambiguous guy from Guatemala who's, I think he's just a Castizo, to be honest. Probably like 3/4 Sephardic Jew, like 1/4 Indios. But yeah, so it numerically doesn't make sense, and that already sucks. Like, the fact that the name of the evil organization doesn't make grammatical or logical sense is bad. And then there's the Resistance, and the Resistance is to the First Order. But the First Order doesn't occupy... Okay, so the Resistance is a terrorist group that works for the Republic. So resistance, for those of you who speak English, means that they're resisting something. They're resisting occupation. When Napoleon invaded Spain, the resistance movement were the guerrillos, or the guerrillas. So they're resisting occupation, but the First Order isn't occupying the Republic. At this point in the movie, they aren't even at war. So they're resisting someone who's not occupying them. And yeah, so the two main organizations in this movie don't make any sense. Like, they're grammatically and logically incorrect. So that's how shitty this movie is. Like, they couldn't even get the basic names right. Like, they couldn't be bothered to fucking type it into Merriam-Webster what the term first means. So they're still using shitty X-Wings like 30 years later. Now, something I think a lot of people don't understand is stormtroopers aren't like the standard soldiers of the Empire. There's Imperial Navy troopers and there's Imperial ground troopers. Stormtroopers are normally selected very young and trained to be the Empire's elite. Yeah, stormtroopers are not crappy. They're basically interstellar marines. See, how it works in the American Army is you have the Army, which main job is to provide fire support and hold territory, and the Marines are kind of the offensive arm. So that's kind of how it works. The stormtroopers take land and destroy the enemy, and the rest of the army occupies stuff and provides fire support. So we're like, what the hell's happening? There's this random, vaguely recognizable British actor who gave a piece of a map to find Luke Skywalker. And like the problem with this is it's obviously like a ripoff of KOTOR's plot. And now we have the white hand of Saruman. Except it's the reverse because it's a bloody hand on a white uniform. And see, nothing about... Sorry, I'm jumping around. I'll be able to talk about some of the stuff in more detail once we get to a boring part. But I don't get why Finn cracks under pressure. Because in this continuity, at least, he doesn't even have a name. He was taken literally at birth and trained to be a stormtrooper. So he should be like basically... He's a hardened, trained killer at this point. So why does he naturally have this aversion to killing people? Why does he naturally have... I don't know. I guess like it just doesn't make any sense. He should be a hardened soldier. And as we'll see throughout this movie, he can't operate basic pieces of technology like turrets. Like, he just sucks. And it doesn't make sense because he's supposed to be like a U.S. Marine. Could you imagine a U.S. Marine who has 10 years of training acting like this guy? Me neither. He has the faggiest voice ever. So, like, what is this? Who the fuck is this guy? This is like that scene in the first Star Wars where it was like, only a master of evil doth. Or whatever. What does that even mean? Like... So they have like some long history together apparently that happened off screen, and this is like some of the first stuff we see in the movie is this... See, this is a pretty advanced skill, being able to block a blaster bolt, but this is the only advanced skill that Kylo Ren has. He doesn't have Force Lightning. He can't lightsaber fight. I don't even know if he can Force push. Kylo Ren sucks. And there's no reason he should suck, because he's 6'3", he's buff, and he's a Skywalker. He's Leia's son, so he should be as skilled in the Force as Rey is, if Rey is Luke's daughter. He's the grandson of the Chosen One, the strongest Force user to ever live. And he's 6'3", and he's, like, buff. Basic sword fighting logic suggests that if you're big, you have a longer reach, and you have a lot of weight behind your strokes, you should just be able to overwhelm people. I mean, he uses two-handed power swipes. But yeah, so they pretend that like Kylo Ren and this guy have this big background. It's kind of like supposed to be like the scenes where Obi-Wan and Darth Vader were talking. But at the time it was established that they knew each other from the Clone Wars. And it added a lot more of additional meaning to it when we saw the prequels and we saw how they used to be friends. And like even the prequels, they made references to it. Like when Obi-Wan was like, I swear someday you'll be the death of me. Well, it's a good thing they blew up that Resistance fighter. No need to check its computer for like nav information, the locations of the Resistance base, comm frequencies. No, we're just going to blow it up. That's standard military procedure. Oh, look, it's a droid with the plans to Starkiller, I mean the Death Star, I mean Luke's location, going off into the desert of Tatooine, I mean Jakku. So there's the new Star Destroyer. It kind of looks like shit. Look at how bad this CG is. For fuck's sake. Make some practical effects. The original Star Wars movies look better than this. Why is he, like, shocked? Did they not expect them to have Star Destroyers? Oh shit, are we gonna see the Dindu face? Oh. They couldn't even get like a good looking mulatto. They had to get like some guy like, oh, some guy from Nigeria. Oh, it hurts. And then she's in this movie for some reason. Why is Gwendolyn Christie in this movie? I don't know. This is so contrived. I mean, he would have undergone all sorts of training, all sorts of conditioning. He would not have a normal emotional range if he was raised in like a totalitarian environment. So here we have Ray, who's basically the worst character ever. She has zero personality, zero backstory. The actress isn't even attractive. She's like some midget with like a little boy, like the body of a little boy. I mean, what's her name? Felicity Jones, or whoever the actress is in Rogue One, is way better looking than her. And I bring up her looks because if like the basis of her character was like at least there, I could overlook it. I mean, if we're gonna be watching this stinker, like you could at least have some eye candy. She just looks like some homely like thing they found in the British countryside. So there's the Star Destroyer that crashed. No context, of course. But yeah, so she's the main character. I mean, they couldn't come up with anything better. The two characters we have in this game are the Super Dindu, and I don't even know what to call her. Just the most boring person that they could find. And I mean, nothing about Finn's character makes any sense, because he's supposed to be like this hardened guy who has like severe emotional trauma because he was raised by the First Order. Why didn't you just bring her speeder up the hill? Can speeders not go up hills? Because I mean, cars can go up hills, and this thing hovers, so I don't fucking know. But yeah, so Finn's supposed to be this like super death commando trained by the First Order, but he's a pussy who doesn't like to fight and can't use basic technology. So I don't get it. Yeah, so there's an Imperial class Star Destroyer. That actually looks pretty cool. And there's a vulture. Nothing about this movie makes any sense. So she's going to take her junk. I mean, she seriously does have the body of like a 14-year-old boy. I just don't want to see that in a woman. Look, she's like, I don't know. You can't be a manlet if you're a woman. A womanlet? I don't know. Maybe it's shallow, but like I said, if her character was like at least interesting, this wouldn't be as bad. Some weird goblin creature. Is that a droid or just some weirdo? That's shitty considering it's like power components from a Death Star. Well, from a Imperial Star Destroyer. So I guess she has no means of growing her own food on this planet. So she has to rely on scavenging from the same Star Destroyer every day. And yeah, so she scavens from the same Star Destroyer every day. And then she uses that to buy one meal. So nothing about this makes any sense. And then there's some greens that she got from somewhere. I mean, that is kind of cool that there's like the powder that you mix with water and it makes bread. That's kind of like a neat futuristic thing. But it's just, none of this makes any sense. So yeah, so apparently there's some guy in a old school rebel uniform who left her here. I wonder who that could be. Oh, and there's the Rebel Alliance starfighter helmet. So she's living in an old AT-AT. I never really got it in Star Wars because they seem to alternate between hover, walker, and wheels as to what's the best for going over hard terrain. Oh, is it kind of like Finders Keepers? Like he found the droid and she's just stealing it from him? It's a droid. It's a fucking computer. You can't respect it. See, she's nice. She cares for droids. I remember, like, I think, I forget if it was Wikipedia or something got so dildo, they were talking about anti-droidism. Like, the Empire is so, like, is so evil that they don't consider droids to be sentients. I mean, they're computers. Why would they be considered sentients? So you're sending some, like, lone droid with no means of defending itself to a town? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, she's acting like this thing is a person. But anyways, this movie, like, around this part, I started to forget that I was living and that I was watching a movie. Because, I mean, what does this have to do with anything? So is this, like, the First Order? This is the Resistance? Can we get to the plot? I mean, any plot, please? No, we're just going to have, like, the most boring person possible, then the other most boring person possible, and then Kylo Ren, who's, like, a fucking pussy. Like, his voice is shit, but it's slightly better with his mask on. Yeah, because this is like, remember in the first movie when Leia was tortured and then she wouldn't give up the location of the thing? Like, this is like that. So he's ripping it out of his brain. It's like, that's another thing that makes no sense to this movie. Like, Kylo Ren is the head of the Knights of Ren. What is the Knights of Ren? Are they some Sith order? I don't get it. Here's the Super Aryan. All the Empire are white males, which makes them significantly more sympathetic. Well, except for Captain Phasma, but because she's such a memorable character. Maybe. No, they won't be back. Ever. Because no one gives a shit about you. One half portion. Wow, 60 portions of what? No, she has a responsibility to, I guess, an animate object. It's not a person. My ability to not starve is more important than. Okay. He's breaking him out because of reasons. Like, he doesn't know. Gee, we're gonna steal this car. It's like fucking playing GTA. Then he's got the TIE fighters. I can fly anything. He can fly anything. I mean, they actually don't look too bad. I mean, a lot of stuff in this movie looks worse. That's not a bad-looking TIE fighter. So, he's like been trained since birth to be an elite warrior. He doesn't know how to fire a basic laser turret. I mean, it's just a turret. It's like the ball gunner on a B-17. You literally just swerve the thing around. Well, you can't see my hand gestures, but you just swivel it around and you pull the triggers to fire. It's literally designed for someone with no training to use. Okay, so he figured it out apparently. Yeah, you'd think they would have put shields on TIE fighters, but that's too much work. Like, I don't get how they couldn't figure out how to get rid of the docking clamp. I don't know. They're just really dumb. You think they would have gotten rid of the docking clamp before they opened it up? But TIE fighters don't have life support. I mean, part of the design of the TIE fighter was to be mass-produced and to be as cheap as possible to build. So pilots wore their own space suits because removing the life support system was able to make it lighter and put more power into the engines. Because TIE fighters are, generally speaking, I believe, faster than... See, he was raised since birth, but he still sucks. Turbo lasers aren't used anyways. I love how shitty this new model TIE fighter is. Like, the new model Star Destroyer, it can't destroy a single fighter. Like, what's the point of even building capital ships if they have absolutely no defense against fighters? I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. Turbo lasers can't even hit fighters anyways. Turbo lasers are built for bombardment and for destroying other capital ships or cruisers. They fire too slowly. You gotta be kidding me. Gotta go find Luke Skywalker. You're like the 50 Cent of the Jedi. Yep, now they have women. It's funny because they've tried to dildoize the Empire by giving them like females and blacks and stuff. And all it really does is, I guess, make them more sympathetic to like people who care about that. Yeah, that was the scene right there. That was what made me not want to see this movie. Oh my god, look at that. Fuck. He's like a male Leslie Jones. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Poe's just disappeared. He shows up again later in the movie. Maybe it's like a Force ghost of Poe. Maybe he's become like a Poe in Zelda. Or something like that. Yeah, I don't know why he gets rid of his Stormtrooper armor. I think Stormtrooper armor has air conditioning in it. Let me just look that up while I'm watching this. But yeah, people always make fun of Stormtrooper armor because it doesn't like seem to protect them. But what it does do is it prevents them from dying. So if they get like shot, if they get shot by like a lethal blaster bolt, they'll still get injured and it'll still knock them down, but it won't kill them. So if you look at them on the ground, they just kind of look like they're falling unconscious. They're sometimes still moving around a bit, which is pretty cool. It has climate control in it. But like people understand the purpose of armor. Like armor isn't always just to protect you 100% from damage, like just directly being shot. A lot of the time, what its purpose is to block shrapnel, because shrapnel's often a bigger threat on the battlefield than getting shot directly. Because in both world wars, the vast majority of casualties came from artillery, not direct shots. Programmed from birth, except for Finn, who sucks. From leader Snooky from the Jersey Shore. What kind of a fucking name is Snoke? They couldn't come up with anything. Like the previous villain, we had Darth Vader, we had Palpatine, Darth Sidious, we have Darth Tyrannus, Count Dooku. We have all these badass villain names. And now we have Snooky from the Jersey Shore. Like, who came up with this? He's such a concentrated dindu. Look at those. Oh. He's going to drink out of the animal trough. Kind of ironic. Or the pigs drinking. Shit. There's a white woman. If I save her, then I don't know. She's going to give me sexual favors or something. Finn didn't do nothing. He just betrayed the First Order for no real reason. Because they're evil, but the Resistance is also a terrorist group, and the First Order is a legitimate government. Whatever. Why does he think that he's a... Oh, right. Right, because he's wearing Poe Dameron's jacket, I guess? So yeah, guys, he's a stormtrooper trained from birth. But he can't overpower a 5'2" woman. He just can't. It's too hard. I didn't do nothing. He gave me the jacket. See, this movie is kind of like Black Lives Matter. Because he didn't do nothing. He just kind of stole that jacket. Yeah, this is not suspicious at all. This is obviously not a First Order trick. These people are like so trusting. This guy very like easily could have been a stormtrooper plant that they sent to put into the Resistance. Not suspicious at all. Why would they think he's a myth? Like, he's one of the most famous people in galactic history at this point. Like, why would anyone think that Luke Skywalker... I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. Nothing about this movie makes any sense. Like, it seems like common history isn't really known by anybody. And I know it's like, well, you guys saw the movies, but you don't think, like, the hero of the rebellion who took down the Empire would be something people would know about? No. What? Okay. He shouldn't need a blaster. He'd be highly trained in hand to hand combat. See, like, one of the things that's interesting in this movie, as I point out, is he's super physically aggressive with her. Like, he always, like, hordes over her. He always grabs her and pulls her around. It's really, like, creepy, actually. He's just pure concentrated Dindu. Like, he's not a professional soldier. He's not a stormtrooper. He's just, like, literally just some Dindu who they found and decided to put into a Star Wars movie. So it's like hard to tell who's more boring, him or Ray. Because I guess he's more obnoxious, but Ray is more boring. So it's kind of hard to tell. And the Millennium Falcon just happens to be here. I guess the Force willed it? I don't fucking know. Do we really have to just rip off everything from the original movie? It's like every scene, every frame is so dense. It's just so dense with rip-offs. And he doesn't understand how to work that because he's a professional. This like extremely simple turret gun, it's too hard. I guess the deflector shields aren't working. I don't know. Stay low, stay low. That seems like a really big oversight. Okay, we can't track things that are close. I mean, I guess that's just how radar works IRL, but still. They only sent 2 TIE fighters because this thing isn't important at all. I call bullshit. They're wearing pressurized spacesuits, but they were able to fly in the TIE fighter without pressurized spacesuits easier. Earlier, I don't know. I mean, historically, it was very difficult to shoot down aircraft from a turret gunner. The main purpose of a turret gunner isn't even really to shoot down fighters attacking it. The purpose is to like make it difficult. Because if you're fighting a bomber with no turrets, then you can just kind of fly up straight at it and shoot it. If the thing has turrets and the turrets are firing at you, you have to bob and weave to try to not get hit by it. It's a lot harder to hit it. Excuse me. I mean, like some of the later versions of the B-17, they had to take off a couple of the machine guns just because there was too many. And it was weighing the plane down too much. That was kind of one of the issues of the B-17, was the B-17 just had too many. It carried too much stuff that wasn't bombed, so it wasn't that good of a bomber. I mean, it was better than what a lot of people had, but I mean, the Millennium Falcon has a bunch of other cannons. Why can't he use one of those? Or they could just flip the button marked deflector shields. That might help. No, that would be too difficult. It's like the worst tracking sensor ever. Why would you use infrared on a planet that's a desert? Remember that scene in the first Star Wars where Luke used the turret and they shot down the TIE fighters while Han was flying the ship? Well, this is exactly like it. And you liked that movie, so you gotta like this movie too. No, he's obviously not with the Resistance. The droid's like, fuck this. She a white woman. Okay, it's time for another rip-off of the original movie. Remember that scene in the original movie where Han Solo had to go down there and fix something and the toolbox fell on him? Well, we gotta do that again because we have no ideas. Why couldn't they just have Thrawn in this movie? He's such a fucking pussy. He's just freaking out and just starts destroying shit. Imagine if that was like the self-destruct console. Sir, that was the weapon console. We can't fire weapon. We can't fire the ion cannons. We have no means to disable their ship. Yeah, he was just explaining Rey's origin story there. Like, why did that piss him off so much? I'm trying to impress this girl so she have sex with me. It's exactly like that scene where Luke's handing Han stuff in the first movie. You gotta help me out, man. Be my wingman. Bros before hoes. See, he's a highly trained mechanic. He's like looking over her like he's like a gorilla about to pounce on like a gazelle or something. But yeah, it's just so he's like this highly trained guy. He doesn't know what basic tools are in a universe where everything's technology. So he can't fight. He doesn't have hand-to-hand combat. Okay, there we go. It's just so like physically aggressive. It's the Maw. It's the Maw Irregular Force. We're gonna have Abradala here with the Sun Crusher. He can't even recognize First Order ships. Like, that's clearly not a First Order ship. He spent his entire life aboard First Order ships, and he can't tell that that's clearly not one. He doesn't even know what their outlines are. I mean, even, like, people who have only seen a couple of these movies can recognize a Star Destroyer. That doesn't make any sense. They're the same fucking thing. If their mask filters out bad air, then it'll filter out the others. I don't fuck. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, Stormtrooper armor will allow them to survive in a vacuum for a short period of time. So toxins are more dangerous than the vacuum of space. Hey, it's Harrison Ford for another phoned-in performance. But then again, he's kind of become infamous, at least in my mind, for having low-energy phoned-in roles. If you've seen Ender's Game has like the most phoned-in Harrison Ford role I've seen in a long time. He just doesn't give a shit anymore. He just wants his paycheck and he wants to go because he's fucking greedy. I think that's probably the best way to describe Harrison Ford. I mean, this whole film, to be perfectly honest, this whole film was just a cash-in. It was made by like a group of marketers who were like, we're going to make this movie. People are going to give us money for this movie. It's going to be great. And that's in essence what The Force Awakens is. It's just the quest for more money. It's the movie, like if they had have made Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money, then yeah, this would be it. Wasn't he a war hero? Well, yeah, I mean, I remember the First Order. I was trained since birth. I don't have knowledge of basic galactic history. Not even like revisionist history, but just like basic history. He has his ship back. Ha ha. God, this is a bad movie. This is so boring. Someone put a compressor on the ignition line. Should we throw them into the pod? We'll drop them on the nearest inhabited planet. Yeah, that sounds like the kind of thing he'd do. Well, who else would he be? Is there like another Han Solo who has a legendary starship, the Millennium Falcon, who flies around the universe kicking ass? No, there really isn't. Yeah, I knew him. I knew Luke. Way back in Return of the Jedi, back when this series wasn't shit. The Rathars got loose. Did you just say Rathars? Hey. Yeah. I'm hauling Rathars. They're big and they're dangerous. Yeah, he just kind of idly like jokes about how his entire crew got slaughtered because of his own incompetence. Our hero, ladies and gentlemen, what a stand-up guy. That's the Han Solo we all know and love. That's the Han Solo that we all remember from the original. Some kind of, I mean, he was kind of a rogue with a heart of gold, but now he's like a flat-out sociopath, joking about how all the people who put their trust in him just got slaughtered by some random monster. And remember, like in the original, how he owed money to Jabba the Hutt? Now he owes money to these fucking random gangs. I mean, like, we have to rely on the original movie for everything. We have to copy every scene, every frame, every minute. It's just, oh, it's so bad. Yep. I don't even know what to say. Coriolis effect. If anyone gets that reference, I'll give you a cookie. Like, why is this scene even in the movie? Could we get back to maybe the First Order, the Jedi? Like, we have zero background. We don't know who the Jedi are. Why is Shia LaBeouf in this movie? It's over for you. Like, First Order, could you explain who they are? Maybe explain who the Resistance is, who the New Republic is. No, we don't get shit explained. We just get this boring garbage. Who cares? Nobody lived in the galaxy. Is this like a more alpha version of Millennial Woes? I don't know. Search the freighter. Wait. Resetting the fuses should do it. Just trying to sync it. Sorry, it's hard to record these things in parts. I'm not really sure what else to do, to be perfectly honest. You do. Long fuses. Kill them. Like, this looks like something from fucking Men in Black. Like, what a joke. This looks like, yeah, like something from Men in Black, like as a joke alien. And this is what we get, like, instead of explaining who the First Order is, instead of explaining who the Resistance is, we get this bullshit. Like, people complained about the prequels being cartoony. Look, there's a fucking boot falling out of its mouth. Take a sip. Yeah, drink a Diet Coke. Look at, like, just how physically aggressive he is. Like I said, pure concentrated Dindu. Whoosh. Whoosh. Remember, this thing ate Han Solo's entire crew, and that was, like, played for laughs. Oh, good, they're gonna get rid of Finn. Oh, thank God. I never get, why are these things always immune to, like, blasters and stuff? I mean, in real life, you can take down a bear with a magnum if you get a good shot in at its head. I mean, it'll hurt it if you shoot it in the body. I mean, I don't think buckshot will do much to it. A slug will take a pot, will do something. But these aren't, like, even slug throwers. These are, like, super advanced blaster rifles. Why didn't it eat him, but it ate the other people? I guess because he's a main character? How did she teleport there? It had me but the door. Yeah, I never get what the bowcaster is. Is the bowcaster a laser weapon? Or... Because I always thought of the bowcaster as being like a railgun of sorts that fired like explosive projectiles, like incendiary rounds. Not quite, like maybe 50 caliber armor piercing incendiaries. But yeah, why else would you need a crossbow? Shouldn't he just have like a blaster rifle or something? So I think the main purpose of shields on most ships is to protect it from space debris. Because if you're going, the faster you go in outer space, there's no air to slow things, air resistance to slow stuff down. Things will just keep going at the same speed forever. So on satellites, like little chips of paint will hit it and make big holes in it. So that's kind of the reason you need shields. Is if you're going to be going this fast, you need some sort of barrier. How did they build that? Just how? Is this Snooky? Yep, it's Snooky. What does that even mean? What new Jedi? So the new Jedi Order? Because this was the new Jedi Order and they got wiped out. Why does it matter if they reach Skywalker? There's no Jedi left. You have one Jedi left who's like old and doesn't really have time to train more Jedi. And they aren't even really Jedi at this point. They're light side Force users. An awakening, like the Force awakening. I don't think Snooki is actually this big. I just think this is a hollow projection. So some people say that he's, yep, Han Solo, we needed it stated directly. Who the hell are the Knights of Ren? Why has this never been established? So I guess we're talking about Snooki. So there's a billion theories about who Snooki is, and each one's shittier than the last. The only good one I've seen is that he's Darth Plagueis. He kind of looks a bit like Darth Plagueis, because I mean they keep changing what Darth Plagueis looks like. Before they like canonically made him immune, which he doesn't look like, he does look like the original version of him. Also, Darth Plagueis had a severe facial wound that he had to wear a respirator for. That's how Palpatine killed him. He like force lightninged the respirator and he suffocated. So, yeah. But yeah, Snooki as Darth Plagueis would be good. I don't get why he's not a Darth. I guess because they aren't Sith, they're Dark Jedi. None of it makes any sense. I guess with the death of Vader... Oh, look, another reference to the original trilogy. So you have to rely on the original trilogy for everything. See, this is like that scene in A New Hope, where you have the two people on the ship with Han and Chewbacca. You like that movie, right? So you're going to like this piece of shit. And we got the droid. We got this annoying as fuck thing. He's got the hologram that the Star Killer base plan. Why is it like why do we have to have this stupid treasure hunt? Like, did we really have to ruin KOTOR by stealing the Starforge plot? I want you to keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Kylo Ren was somehow able to kill the entire Jedi Order, but he can't beat Rey. People that knew him best. Thinking he went looking for the first Jedi Temple. On, that would be on Tython. I think it's Tython is the homeworld of the Jedi. We need it restated what the Force is, because people who saw this movie never would have Okay, I mean, if you go to Wikipedia, the Knights of Ren are listed as the state religious body for the First Order, and the First Order is led by a Sith or a dark side user. So shouldn't Finn know about the Force and know about the dark side? And wait a minute, he served under Kylo Ren. He watched Kylo Ren stop a blaster bolt using the Force. So why doesn't he know about the Force? It doesn't make any sense. It's not even using like extended universe. I'm just trying to use the logic from within this movie. Well, because you're stupid. Is this Yavin 4? Kind of looks a bit like Yavin 4. I don't know. I don't know. People say this movie doesn't look like it costs the amount of money it cost. I think it looks like shit, but that's just me. This kind of looks a bit like Naboo. So our hero, ladies and gentlemen, he's lying to impress a girl. He's pretty cool. That's the ugliest looking blaster I've ever seen. I mean, guns are hard to use. I've only shot one a couple times, but if you're using a pistol, it's really hard to aim using a pistol. Unless you've been really, like, well trained using it. I'm thinking about it. Well, they just offered her a job. Nothing in this movie makes any kind of sense. I have to get home. I hate Chewbacca. I don't get why people like him. Once again, why is it called the First Order if it's a successor to the New Order? It should just be the Order. I don't know. Hey, we're supposed to know who this character is. Was she in the Clone Wars or one of the shitty new canon shows? I don't know. Doesn't make any sense. Jazz, plastic, Zaz. This also looks like shit. These special effects are horrible. Oh. Hans? Oh no. No moss. Desperately. Let's get to it. The ultimate mud shark. The ultimate one. Wow, what a thought. It's like they took the cantina scenes and they took everything good out of them and then they put them in this movie. Their missing droid is here. Did she say the Gundam? I forget what they're called. Vengeance class? Vindicator class? They're the new Star Destroyers they made. They're kind of like, I think, a cross between a Super Star Destroyer and an Imperial Star Destroyer. This scene doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, but Kylo Ren is really just like an edgelord. Like, he worships Vader. He LARPs as Vader by wearing, like, his outfit. His parents were, like, liberals who got divorced. He went off and just joined, like, a LARP group made of, like, people who idolized the long dead Empire. No. Excuse me. I'm only halfway through this piece of shit. Fuck. The only fight against the dark side Who the ages take many forms. Of course they can win. The First Order is not that powerful. I don't fucking know. Like I said, nothing anybody says in this movie makes any kind of sense. She's fucking crazy. What does that mean? Yeah. You haven't seen shit. He doesn't even know how to use the turret on a ship. Our hero, ladies and gentlemen. He was trained since birth. Trained since birth to be a stone cold killer. And he's an incompetent, cowardly asshole. Come with me. Just look at him. Keep it, kid. Don't leave without me. I lied to you this whole time, but I'm gonna forgive you for some reason. Yeah, he was trained since birth, ladies and gentlemen. Raised to do one thing. But he sucks at it. Well, just... I mean, I'm sorry, guys. I'll try to think of, like, something else to talk about, but I'm struggling. This movie's so slow and boring. How? How did he get another standard of morality? It's funny how they've, like, tried to pause these movies, but they've paused them, like, too much. So so now the First Order has, like, women and minorities in them. They're probably going to have aliens. Well, they do. They have Snooki. I mean, I guess Thrawn's an alien, but the Chiss aren't even, like, a different species. They're, like, a subspecies of humans. They're almost, like, just another race. Like Mongoloids or Caucasoids or Negroids or whatever. Yeah, they're almost kind of like another subracial group of humans. I love the Chiss. That feel window-based QT Chiss waifu. Why even live? Like, look how small she is. She's tiny. How does she fight Kylo Ren? Kylo Ren's like a 2-meter tall, like, bulky guy who uses two-handed Jim So. He should just, like, beat the shit out of her. How could you even block power attacks from him? I don't know. Why does he have a broken crystal anyways? I mean, the Sith use synthetic crystals, right? So couldn't they just have forged him, like, one that didn't suck? It's the will of the Force that this door opens. See, I hate to keep harping on this point, but we don't know anything about the First Order. We don't know anything about the Resistance. And if we go back to, like, A New Hope, it was pretty obvious the Empire was like this. It was based on a fascist state, right? They dress like fascists. They have the minimalistic, futuristic art style. They talk about the old republic. They talk about the imperial senate getting dismantled. It's clear that they're removing the last traces of representation and um, imposing complete autocracy on the galaxy. It's clear what the rebels are fighting for. And I mean, like, they didn't even really need much dialogue. It was all just kind of established through tropes and heuristics. Who is that? Is that that? Wow, this is a great flashback scene. Oh, here we go. We have a vision of the future. Oh, it's shittier than the novel Vision of the Future. I never read Vision of the Future. I read Spectre of the Past, but not Vision of the Future. And his fathers before him. Wait a minute, how did... But Luke lost the lightsaber, right? I mean, he had his father's lightsaber. His hand got cut off, and he lost to Cloud City. The lightsaber he used in Return of the Jedi was one he built himself. Obi-Wan Kenobi had a lightsaber furnace in his hut, and Luke used that to make his green lightsaber crystal. So, yeah. So that's a plot hole. Well, if most creatures that live that long have a connection to the Force. Hutts don't. There was one Hutt Jedi, but Hutts are resistant to the Force, particularly like Force persuasion and mind reading, just because they're not humanoids. They're not. They're just completely. They're just an unrelated species. Hutts live like 1,000 years or so. Yeah, interesting thing. Hutts are all hermaphrodites. And before you say it's paused, I mean slugs are hermaphrodites, if memory serves, and Hutts are slugs. But interestingly enough, Hutts tend to assume a gender. Oh, here we go. Time for an edgy speech. The end of the Republic. I love this. This is awesome. Well, it's true. They're funding a terrorist group. He goes like full manic here. I know how this is supposed to be scary, but it's just awesome. So, the capital isn't even on Coruscant anymore. And this is kind of what I hate about the New Republic is the Old Republic had all these traditions. The Old Republic had like 10,000 years of history. It had a constitution. It had a specific organization. And the New Republic has none of these things. It's just basically starting from complete scratch. And it's just like, why even care, to be perfectly honest? I'm a huge fan of the Old Republic. Well, not just the game, but the actual institution. Because the thing you have to keep in mind is the Old Republic was not a liberal democracy. The Old Republic is not like, was not Pausland. It was a combination of aristocracies, monarchies, hive worlds, republics, just a combination of innumerable forms of government who had more or less to, like, complete autonomy. And the New Republic, aside from slavery, civil war, genocide, or piracy, or I guess some drug stuff, didn't interfere with the internal members. So you had worlds like Naboo that were noble monarchies, more or less, where the nobles would choose one of their member to be king. Alderaan worked similar. Then I think Corellia was like a democratic republic. And then there were worlds of non-humans that were hive worlds, or just had completely different forms of government. There were theocracies, and all the planets were allowed to maintain their own borders, their own traditions, their own culture, their own form of government. Like, Naboo was able to stay pretty much aside. Well, the Gungans live somewhere else, but Naboo was like 100% human, and they were not forced to take any immigration. And many of the Republic's worlds were fairly homogenous, and they were allowed to keep it that way. And they all had representation. It was very stable. It was decentralized. There was no real reason to leave. The central government for most of... Well, just say Luke gave it to me. But yeah, I really like the Old Republic. It functioned really well. The fact that it functioned for 10,000 years, and what ultimately almost brought it down was not internal but external threats, mainly from the Sith empires. And what ultimately destroyed it was basically a military coup by a Sith Lord. In general, though, it, like I said, it was remarkably stable. Decentralized societies tend to be more stable than centralized ones, but centralized ones are able to muster their resources a lot more efficiently. So while I like the Old Republic a lot more than the than the Galactic Empire, I like the Galactic Empire a lot more than the New Republic. So Stormtrooper armor protects them from bolt throwers, so like from guns. Most importantly, it protects them from shrapnel. In war, very often, most people die from artillery and shrapnel. They don't die from bullets, per se. When they were surveying American soldiers after World War II, they asked them what they were the most scared of. And most of them said artillery. Some said mortars, and like one or two said light machine guns. But people were in general not afraid of rifles or submachine guns. Because what you have to understand is the explosive force of artillery is really like not what's most important about it. When it hits the ground, it shatters like the rocks. It shatters metal. It sends just stones and dirt and everything flying at high speeds in different directions. And that is more dangerous than the actual explosion. So that was initially why helmets were created. Helmets like can deflect bullets, but in general, helmets were there to stop shrapnel. And it actually dramatically reduced the number of casualties. Oh, it's that guy. It's the badass one with his riot stick. Traitor. So Finn using the lightsaber, Finn would probably have some idea how to use the lightsaber. Because, I mean, he is a stormtrooper theoretically, and stormtroopers are trained in close quarters combat, probably with their rifles. They don't really use bayonets anymore, but Americans train with what they call Puji sticks or whatever. They're trained with like hitting people with their rifles, kind of using it like a bow or a fighting stick. Probably also trained with vibro blades, that kind of thing. So you could probably use a weapon. Lightsabers require the Force to use because there's no balance to it. The blade has no weight. Like if you were to lay a sword edge like on your hand or whatever, it's not going to cut you. You have to slice. Lightsabers you can't even touch yourself with. It's an extremely dangerous weapon. But I guess you can simply use it. But yeah, back to Stormtrooper armor. So Stormtrooper armor will protect from slug throwers. It'll protect from concussive blasts. It'll protect from smoke. I believe that their visors will allow them to see through smoke and other environmental hazards. Now, it will deflect blaster shots, but mainly what it does is it doesn't stop them outright, but it reduces their power. So if they get shot, it'll probably just stun them or injure them instead of outright kill them, which is pretty useful. So they can, after the fight, they can go and pick up their soldiers and repair and heal them. But yeah, like you saw the blaster bolt hit that wall and it knocked them over. None of those guys are probably dead or that. Yeah, like they're probably not that dead or that badly injured even, because the armor will protect them from all the shrapnel from those exploding rocks, and probably from a lot of the concussive force of the explosion of the laser bolt. So, kind of the first widely used modern armor was the flak jacket, which they introduced in Vietnam. Now, flak jackets, I don't even think can stop pistol rounds, but they will stop shrapnel. And when you're fighting in a jungle, it's hard to hit anybody because there's all the branches and trees. What does happen is the tree next to you gets shot a lot, and as the tree gets shot, splinters fly out. And a splinter will kill you just as easily as a bullet. So, flak jackets were useful for that. Also, bullets sometimes shatter when they hit things or ricochet. Kylo Ren's very inconsistent with his Force abilities. Mm-hmm. The droid. Request air support. Like, he can take stuff out of people's minds. He can stop a blaster bolt in midair. He can freeze her. But in other cases, his force abilities are just awful. Well, destroy the droids so they don't have access to the information. Whatever. I mean, at this point, they could just nuke it from orbit. The Vengeance class or whatever Star Destroyer could just rain down turbo laser fire and obliterate this entire position. But people who run a military don't think that way. We're supposed to care for some reason. That's kind of cool. The new TIE fighters can like hover in midair. That's pretty neat. Oh, less than an hour of this shit left. Thank God. Why did this movie have to be so long? Like, it wasn't enough for it to be bad. It had to be long as well. Oh my God, she looks awful. This is really awkward. Remember this guy? He's back. Nostalgia. Why does he have a red arm? Well, I'm sure that'll be explained. So in other words, he got cucked by Chewbacca. Of course, they only had one child. They have the most powerful bloodline in the galaxy, but they can only be bothered to reproduce with one kid. Despite them both being rich, no need to have more all-powerful Jedi. Who cares about that? Is this Yavin 4? I don't know. I like how they haven't like upgraded their starfighters in the last decade. The Millennium Falcon, I think, has one of the fastest hyperdrives in the galaxy. The bigger the ship in Star Wars, generally speaking, the better the hyperdrive. Capital ships normally have better hyperdrives than smaller ships. Shit, it's that Poe guy. It's that Mr. Meat. Poe Dameron, you're alive? Buddy, so are you. What happened to you? Remember that scene in the original movie? We're gonna have that again. He doesn't know shit. He worked in sanitation. Why they couldn't just have like some civilian contractor do it? Why they needed a... Is she flirting with him? It's kind of weird. Like, it's such stilted dialogue. Look, it's R2-D2. Nostalgia. You liked R2-D2, right? Let's bring him back. Why? So Luke gave him data and left, but he wouldn't have access to it because Luke left. Nothing he could have done. Maybe. Yeah, that was a mistake. Snooky. How? Snoke seduced her son. How did he do that? Background, ladies and gentlemen. This movie's 2.5 hours long and they can't explain shit. You're his father. Like, Remember in the original saga? Remember when I don't know. Here we go. We're back on Jakku or wherever it is. No, not Jakku. Starkiller Base. I don't know what the planet's called. Or is it a moon? I don't know. He looks like such a faggot. Oh my god, look at him. I know I mentioned this earlier, but he's just so awful looking. And his voice is obnoxious too. Why does he have an ashtray for his mask? Is that just to be LARPy? Tell me about the droid. A scavenger. Desperate to sleep. What the fuck? I see the island. Get out of my head. Mind crush. I feel it too. Not giving you anything. We'll see. I have the power of the dark side because I'm Kylo Ren. I am the supreme leader of the Knights of Ren, whoever the hell they are. We still don't know, like, who are the Knights of Ren? It's never been established. I don't think anywhere it's been established, to be perfectly honest. But, yeah, I mean, who needs to know something like that? I mean, the basics of the plot are just not important. Look how long this scene is going on for. What the fuck? You're afraid. Now Kylo Ren's gonna have a freak out. Well, he won't because he has no real training. Snooky hasn't trained him to do shit. Every cliche. Prepare the weapon. Bring her to me. Literally every cliche. Prepare the weapon. Maybe they shouldn't have had like all their super secret guerrilla forces on one planet. Jedi mind trick. Why do they always post the one inept guard? How does she know how to use the Jedi mind trick? I think that's a good question. Oh well, I doubt it'll ever be answered in this piece of shit. That was surprisingly easy. Humor, ladies and gentlemen, just only the best in this piece of shit. Ooh, it's like it's even hard to figure out stuff to say in this movie. It's just so fucking boring. That might be the biggest sin of it, is just how boring it is. And now Kylo Ren's is throwing a fit like a woman. Great. Prepare charging the weapons. So they have to absorb like an entire sun to fire this thing? Wow. That is not a very efficient power thing. It's definitely not Energy Star approved. That's for sure. A Death Star? Of the sun, not a sun. The sun. How did they know that? Did they read the script? Of course, because that's how shields work. Yep, that sounds totally doable. Hey, it's that Hispanic guy from the Return of the Jedi. It's good to see him back. Probably didn't have work before this movie. That's depressing. His baby boomer parents got divorced and it made him go evil. Some things never change and others do. It's like that shit line from The Matrix Revolutions. And no, don't ask, I'm not doing a commentary track of Matrix Revolutions. It's too long and too boring. It's hard enough to try to get through this thing. I will do Evangelion 3.0 if we reach when I reach 3,000 subs. Maybe I'll do it before and just have it pre-recorded and only release it then. I don't know. Kind of reminds me of Spaceballs, this part. This is so slow. That doesn't sound stupid or dangerous at all. Making our approach at light speed. Remember that music cue from the original? Remember how much you liked that music? Literally, like every good well, no, there's no good scenes in this movie, but literally every scene that people like in this movie is just shit they stole from the original film. Han Solo. Yeah, well, that's not how the Force works. How can he be Cole? He's a giant dog bear thing. I don't know what the hell Chewie is. And yes, I know he's a Wookiee, but I don't give a shit. They always get everywhere so fast. I mean, weapon charge in 15 minutes. Okay, we're at 1 hour 37 minutes. Let's see how long it's going to take for them to charge this weapon and actually fire. Why is she even in this movie? I'm the boss now. I'm the boss. I'm a boss. I'm the fucking OG. I'm the original gangster. Hollywood. Ba-da-ba-bow-bow. Ba-da-ba-bow-bow. The first order. Ba-da-ba-bow-bow. Ba-da-ba-bow-bow. First order. Ba-da-ba-bow-bow. Ba-da-ba-bow-bow. He is Snooky. He is a dark sider. Ba-da-ba-bow-bow. Ba-da-ba-bow-bow. He is Kylo Ren. He is so emo. Hollywood. Hollywood Kylo. Why? Why is she making a big mistake? Could you maybe like explain that statement? No? Okay. And by that he means that they will. Thank the maker. So in his case, that would be thank Anakin. I don't know if that's the person you should be invoking at this point in time. Red Squadron. Remember Red Squadron in the original? Remember the Death Star in the original? Remember when all the rebel pilots came together against a superior foe to take them down in the first movie? Yeah, well, we have that in this film too. For first order. First order is now in effect. He is Snooky. He is the best Darksider. Supreme Leader Snooky. He is so godlike. Hell no. I better get some pussy after this. Yep, and Ray is climbing out just like Luke in the original movie. Remember that movie? This is just like the original movie. Oh, he gets a hug. And he's like aggressively grabbing her. He's like, this bitch better put out. It's the power of the Force. That's the power of love. That's the power of love. I hope you're enjoying this this quality commentary. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying. I'm really trying here. But it's hard to even like come up with anything to say about this film. Well, I'm basically done with the movie, so for the rest of the film, I'm just gonna say First Order, bound to bow wow. Yep. Fully charged. Or the power of the Force. Why does the dark side suck so much? Like, why do they always lose? It's not even infighting this time. Normally the Sith lose because they fight each other more than they fight the Jedi or whoever their other enemies are, but that's not really the case here. I think thermal detonators are miniaturized nuclear weapons, if I recall correctly. I remember they talked about that in, I forget. I looked it up once. I was just curious what they were. So I was trying to figure out if there was any nuclear weapons in Star Wars. Because none of these things they ever use nuclear weapons in. I mean, you'd figure even in the future, nuclear weapons are just so overwhelmingly powerful that even with like the laser cannons and stuff, they'd still be good. Plus, they have the EMP effect, which you'd imagine would be good against starships, but I guess not. Find them and destroy them. Why doesn't Ren wear any armor? I don't know. That's something I've always wondered about. I mean, he's Kylo Ren. He's supposed to be Darth Vader. Shouldn't he be wearing some armor of some description? It's the mystery that Scooby Doo couldn't solve. we're gonna have a confrontation. You get it? It's kind of like when Luke confronted his father at Bespin. It looks just like that. Remember that movie? You liked that movie, didn't you? It's nostalgia. It's fucking nostalgia. So love it. Enjoy this piece of shit. Yeah, I'm sure you have been, you asshole. The face of my son. He just looks like such a tool. Like, it's hard to take this shit seriously. I mean, there's no context. Why did Ren become evil? How did Snooki seduce him? Like, why? Like his father. It's like Darth Vader. Because Darth Vader was killed Anakin. See, it's like poetry, they rhyme. Yeah. Like, this is just the most generic dialogue possible. You know it's true. Search your feelings. You know it to be true. Snoke never told you what happened to your father. He told me enough. He told me you killed him. No, I am your father, Kylo. I'm emo. I wouldn't be agreeing to that, Han. Guys, I think it's been more than 15 minutes. I think this weapon's fully charged. Why aren't they firing yet? Is Kylo actually deciding what he's going to do in this scene? Chewie... Oh. But the lightsaber wasn't even pointed towards Han. That's a plot hole. No! Who gives a shit? Yay, Han's dead. His phoned-in performance is over. Such a shitty death scene. Oh, and he falls off. So even if he might have survived, he's dead now. Now Chewbacca is going to shoot him. And Kylo's not going to block it for some reason. Yeah, and in this one, I guess Leia was never trained as a Jedi, despite the fact that she has probably a ton of Force potential, because she is the true-born daughter of Darth Vader. So yeah, he did get shot with a bowcaster, and that's an extremely powerful weapon. So I think it did a fair amount of damage to Kylo Ren, but it's not really clear how badly wounded he was. Now we're blowing the shield generator up. Why would you have armor on it? Why would you have it why would you put the shield generator like out in the open? Shouldn't it like be behind a couple locked doors in some like fortified room? Okay, people, 2 minutes. Let's see how long this scene goes on for. Okay, we're almost 15 seconds in. I hate these fucking artificial countdowns. Just say it's going to take the amount of time. Like, this is probably going to take 20 minutes. Just say it's going to fire in 20 minutes. For fuck's sake. Hey, it's that scene from the teaser trailer. So there we go. He beat the shit out of Ray in one shot. I mean, Force users are supposed to have passive barriers to prevent them from just doing that. Shit. It does belong to him. Yeah, so Kylo Ren's clearly just toying with him. Kylo Ren's a horrible duelist, though. So I also wondered why he was hitting himself. I guess he's trying to make his pain greater to fuel his dark side powers. Yeah, so he's clearly just toying with Finn. How did he take a hit? I mean, he's a fucking Skywalker. He's one of the greatest Force users ever to live. I mean, just in terms of raw potential. Why is his Force powers failing him now? It doesn't make any sense. Why can't he pick up the fucking lightsaber? Oh, now we're going to have the duel that makes no goddamn sense whatsoever. Look how much taller he is. He's like 2 meters tall and she's like 5'2". It has no training. Kylo Ren probably like isn't trained in formal gym, so, but he is trained in a some style of lightsaber fighting. Like, what is he doing? This is such a poorly choreographed fight. I mean, look, she's blocking him. He's doing two-handed cleaves. He probably weighs like 3 times as much as her, and he's probably like 5 times as strong as her. Well, good thing there's no backup shield generators. Good thing there's no armor plating. Good thing that these guns don't work. It's just great. It's the trench run because we needed another Death Star trench run because we have to rely on the original movie for everything. This whole movie is just a shitty remake. Like, this movie's fucking awful. I don't get how people could defend this movie. Like, what's even happened in the last couple hours? It's been like 2 action scenes. Well, it's been like 5 minutes since it was 2 seconds. Why do they always have the most vital components just out in the open? Like, I don't know, that stuff was pretty fragile. You'd think if they would just, like, someone dropped a match or something, it would blow it up. Why is it exploding? Why? No explanation. They didn't even have. At least Rogue One said, okay, the Death Star was deliberately built with a flaw in it, so if someone shot that part of it, the whole thing would explode. That was a deliberate design flaw put in. You'd think if they were going to build the Death Star Part 3, they would take that thing out. Look at how badly he's handling that thing. He's just like flailing. The Force Awakens. How is she beating Kylo Ren? She has no training. Like I said, he's six. Look how much bigger he is than her. He should just be crushing her. This is like he's such a fucking bad duelist. He's getting overpowered by her. Look, she's beating him. He's like 3 times her height. I mean size. Is she trying to short out his lightsaber? Is she drawing the Rebel Alliance symbol? What did she hit him with? Nope, not gonna kill him, even though I have a chance. I mean, you could just stab him. It would take like 5. Oh, no, wait. Okay. Contrived bullshit. Kylo Ren's gonna get away. Woohoo! The plot contrivance awakens. Too bad you can't use a saber throw. That probably would have come in handy right then. It doesn't really seem concerned that his super weapon is falling apart, but who cares? That only took like trillions of credits and 2 decades of construction. Hey, it's the Millennium Falcon here to save them. God, this is cliche. End. Fucking end. This movie's slow. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. New order. First order for life. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. He is Kylo Ren and he is a Darksider. He is Kylo Ren and he leads the Knights of Ren. Kylo Ren and he is so godlike. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. First order. Yeah, he's dead. Sorry, Leia. I guess you're officially divorced now. They were too lazy to actually sign the papers. Why is this movie still going on? That's what I want to know. Apparently, Leia's career got destroyed because someone revealed that she was Darth Vader's daughter, and that ruined her political career because of reasons, I guess? I don't fucking know. Nothing about this makes any sense. Remember that whole map plot that was like super important? Yeah, we forgot about that. Oh no, no wait, it's come back. Why does he have a red arm? So Luke's a responsibility ducking whore who ran off into the middle of nowhere. Like the First Order's running roughshod over the galaxy. We're all gonna be fucked. But sorry guys, I gotta go. I have better things to do. I got stuff to do. I hope not. About that. First Order. And yes, I am trying to make that as obnoxious as possible. Ray. And with your spirit. Oh, right, yeah. Bye, Ray. Okay, Chewbacca's coming with her. There's still another fucking 20 minutes left in this. Well, 15 minutes left in this movie. What is there left for them to do? I mean, everything's kind of been resolved. Starkiller Base got blown up. They saved the galaxy. They've got the map. They're going to go meet Luke. How does she know on the planet where to go for Luke? I guess the Force told her, maybe? I don't know. Come on. End. End. Why is Luke even here? Is there like some more important shit he should be doing? Like fighting the First Order, bring the Jedi Order back? Doing something? No? Just chilling in some fucking rock in the middle of nowhere. Does he have an X-Wing here or something? Or does he just go into exile without a ship? How would that even work? How does he even survive here? It's like this tiny island. Like, where does he get his food from? The sea, I guess? Does he just use, like, the Force to pull fish out of the water? Hey guys, we got this cool thing. Look at it. Like, look at this cool background. This has got to be a good movie, right? Look, there's Luke. There's Luke Skywalker. Remember, he was in the original movies as well. It's just, come the fuck on. End. God, what a bad movie. Look how shitty he looks. Looks like ass. What can you even say to this? Is this supposed to be meaningful, touching, cool, fun? I don't know. Why do I care? Like, why am I supposed to care about this? Yeah, I bet it was directed by J.J. Abrams. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Star Wars The Force Awakens. One of the worst mainstream movies I've ever seen, and by far the worst Star Wars movie I've ever seen. Like, people like to give the original trilogy, the prequel shit. The prequels are way better than that. Even The Phantom Menace is better than that. The Phantom Menace, like, at least felt like Star Wars. This just kind of felt like nothing. So, in conclusion, this movie is awful for any number of reasons. It's boring, it's slow, they don't explain anything, there's not enough action scenes. Rey and Finn aren't really characters. Poe is barely in it. It's just bad. It just comes off as being super amateurish and just super like it feels like a product. It feels like a group of people just sat around a table and threw as many elements together as they could think of to sell stuff. And that's how this film was made. And people criticize The Phantom Menace for that. But this movie was that taken to the nth degree. So, I hope you enjoyed the commentary track. The Evangelion 3.0 one is going to come up. Maybe I'll record that fairly soon. And I'll have to think on that one. That's going to be painful. But I'll sit through it because I like you a lot. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That was The Force Awakens, my commentary track. And I'll talk to you guys later.